What is up, DMV Hoops fans? Welcome to another Believe in DMV Hoops. I'm Matt Moderno. Got Matt Rogers joining me here today. Star forward, star big man for American University, fifth year senior coming in here. Matt, how the hell are you?
Doing great, man. Just enjoying my summer in DC before it gets a little too hot here in July and August. You know how it gets around here. The humidity gets crazy. I love the early June, late May type of year, so it's beautiful.
Although a little steamy today. I was a little surprised by that. I didn't see that one coming.
Right. I heard it's supposed to be
Uh,
like 100 on Friday too. So
Good. I'm got that to look forward to. Yeah, I'm supposed to play basketball tomorrow in an indoor gym with no air conditioning. So the 100-degree day is gonna make for a great time, I'm sure.
yeah, that's no fun.
But all good. Before we get going, we're brought to you by Stateside Vodka and their Surfside hard iced teas, hard lemonades. There's new like strawberry lemonade flavors. They're especially delicious this time of year, especially on those hot days. And we're brought to you by BetOnline. It's your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. MLB, especially ROs, NBA playoffs, so they're almost over here. NHL playoffs, but you can get in on all your favorite stats, news, scores available to play for all your favorite teams. Get the latest odds and matchup reports. So head to the website today and use your mobile device to join BetOnline, where the game starts. Okay, so Matt, you decided to come back to American. Just walk us through that decision a little bit here. Was it just unfinished business, or what kind of led you to want to do the fifth year?
Um, yeah, a little bit of everything. I mean, just staying here. I've been here for 4 years now. Went through the hardest times, probably through COVID,
Sure.
and then bonding. There's also the bonding experience I got with my teammates that I've been here as well for 4 years. With Link coming back, Colin coming back. Unfortunately, we're losing Chris Cleaton and Lorenzo this year, which hurts my heart a little bit because I've grown up with those guys now for 4 years, so that's a little sad. But just the connection between our teammates, the connection I have with Duane and the staff, Coach Simpkins, how the confidence they have in me, I love it. So that was a big part of me coming back. And then just noticing, thinking about my future career, in the pro game, I wouldn't be surprised. I want to be playing pro, either overseas, G League, NBA. You never know.
Mhm.
I feel like staying at this level and showing what I can do consistently and just keep growing my game was overall decision on why I stayed.
So how much chatter was going on between you and Lincoln and Colin and the older crew on the team here about coming back? Like, was that really a group decision? Like, did they factor into what you were doing? If they both left, would that have made it a tougher sell, or what's the relationship there?
For sure, it would have made it a tougher sell, but I feel like I still would have had American in my heart always. But yeah, we had a group. We made a group chat. Shoot, probably like a week or two right after the season ended, and we're like, yeah, we're running this back. Like we have the team, we have the pieces, especially with the new freshmen coming in that we had last year. I guess they're sophomores now, but yeah, with those guys performing how they did and seeing what we can be, especially looking around the league right now, there's some weaknesses that we think are weaknesses, that we can expand on, and so yeah, we were fired up about it, and we're excited to get back for sure.
Lincoln came on this podcast like a week before that, like a week after the season, I want to say, or something like that, and he already said like, I'm ready to go. I'll be back. Like he was out front of it too. So that was cool. And I kind of had an inkling that you guys might make a similar choice.
Oh yeah, me and Link are super close. Been playing for years now, so we have that same connection. We have that same fire and energy, and we feed off each other when it comes to that type of stuff. So we're excited to get back and showcase what we should have been showcasing these last 2 years. Unfortunately, we didn't make it all the way, but we're ready to show it now, and it's our last chance, and we're not going to go out without a fight for sure.
I think continuity is so important in college basketball, and you have all these teams that are trying to get old and stay old. And I'm not calling you old by any stretch, but by college basketball standards, having multiple, guys coming back that have all played together, I think is a really big advantage. And in the Patriot League, Colgate has been kind of the bar setter for a lot of the league here, but they lose some pieces, and you guys were very competitive with them this past season. I think the injury bug hit you guys a little harder than anybody would have liked, but I really like your chances of like kind of going in and making some noise this year.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I don't like to look around the league and criticize other teams, of course, because they're always going to add new pieces. The transfer portal is always getting good guys, that may have started higher and coming lower now to prove themselves. But yeah, but looking at us on paper and at what we've done in the past couple of seasons, I know the injuries was a bit of a struggle playing only like 7 guys at one time. But everybody has injuries and everybody goes through it through the season, so there's no excuse about that. But yeah, we're excited because we know what we can do at full strength, and we're ready to prove that with another offseason together, another summer together. We start in July, so we're excited.
Mention those injuries. Despite that, I mean, that's obviously tough on everybody, and guys get kind of worn down, I'm sure. But you guys just look like you had fun last season. Not that you didn't in past seasons, but something about the vibe last year seemed, I don't know, like a little more energy. Is that part of what Coach Simpkins brings? Is that just the mix of guys you had on the team? I guess I don't know. Is that fair? What I think I saw
Yeah,
watching you guys?
I would say that's a fair observation. Coach Simpkins and the staff overall brought a whole different energy just off the court that I wouldn't say we didn't have before as teammates and stuff, but like he brought it to another level with,
Mhm.
inviting us over to his house, having all these family, like bringing that family culture together. It really helped us in off season. And of course we had that Italy trip, which even, you're spending all the time with the guys going around a foreign country, just living life, playing basketball for a summer. There's nothing better than that. And I would never take any back, all those dinners that we had and all those, just those little experiences that you wouldn't think of that actually help, on the court stuff. So yeah, I would say you can see that we were all like super happy going into the season. We know what we had on the court. Unfortunately, it didn't pan out or whatever, but even in the ups and downs, we were always laughing, joking, having a good time because we were actually enjoying ourselves, enjoying playing basketball under these, this new staff and stuff.
One of the things I talked about, which with Coach Simpkins, was just sort of, I think he freed you up to kind of do some other things in your game that we didn't get to see as much of the years before. Like, before last season, you had talked about expanding your range and showing off some of your perimeter skills here. And I think you got to do that. You got to create a little bit for people out of the high post and things like that too. Like, is style of play a factor in the decision to come back here too? Like, it looked like it would be fun for you to play in the role you were in. So I got to imagine that helps too.
Yeah, Coach Simp and Coach Nate, our offensive coach primarily, they're always thinking of ways to get me new shots, different shots, building my confidence on the offensive end, knowing with the skill set that I provide. And they're always, just giving me that encouragement to go out there and just be a killer and do what you can. We're going to find out ways to get you the ball and all that stuff. And then also involving my teammates is the most thing I take pride in, is getting other guys involved, seeing them get, scoring a bucket here or getting a good stop here. It's just like a thing that I love to see from the guys, because I'm the leader of the team and I want to see everybody happy and succeed. So, yeah.
I think a lot of times we talk about like gravity on a basketball court, and primarily people think about it as like a spacing construct too. But I mean, obviously you can pull a big man away from the floor, but you draw so much attention for teams defensively. Like, I got to imagine that's, number one on the scouting report is how do we slow down Matt Rogers? And I think whether you're making the pass directly or not, I think the way you played last year and how much attention you drew, it made lives easier for other guys on the team. And I think that's, so even if it's not like the direct assist numbers, I still think like you led to easier buckets for the rest of the guys.
Yeah, that's what I love. I don't care if they 4-on-1 me. I'm going to get somebody outside. I'm happy to do that. I don't care as long as we win the game.
Yeah, no, that's the great way to look at it. So, mentioned you had a great year last year. It's fun to watch and see you kind of show off more of those skills. But I would imagine that there were some higher, Power 5 level schools that gave you a call this summer. I mean, are people reaching out informally, even though you weren't in the portal and things like that?
Not informal, because nobody wants to get in trouble, of course, because I wasn't officially in the portal. So
Sure.
None of that type of stuff. But there wouldn't be, I wouldn't say I didn't think about it for a little bit, of course, just, because that's always an option. But I never ever really thought about going into it or staying in it or anything like that, even though I didn't go into it, you know what I'm saying? But I never even thought about leaving American, like, seriously. So, yeah.
I got to think that part of the benefit of being an American too is the educational value too. And that's something that you don't hear people talk about as much, but we've talked about it before. It's a great school to be at, and having an additional year, to put on your resume of, hey, I went to this school and I've worked toward a master's degree and things like that. I'm sure that played in the decision.
Yeah, that was a huge decision even before I came to college. Was my mom always preached student athlete to me, because she was such a good student athlete and it panned out well for her. So like she always preached that from high school, and she preached that now making my decision. She was like, I know, other schools are going to hit you up and stuff for good. They're good for basketball, but thinking about your career after basketball, and the level of, authority that the AU program, business school provides for you on a resume is a different level. So I thought about that as well. And I take pride in my student, my student athlete title. So yeah.
It's also just the legacy you leave behind at a school too of, hey, I was a productive player for 5 years at this program. I think that's more meaningful than I played 4 years somewhere and then I went to some random place for the 5th year just because. So I think that's cool. And I don't know, I would imagine I would want to do a similar thing if I were kind of in your boat.
Yeah, appreciate that. And I got lucky because American actually offers a 5th-year marketing master's program, so I get it in 1 year. So it's accelerated a little bit. So I'm getting my master's next year as well. So that was another huge decision.
Smart man. I love it. That's good. Get all the benefit out of it you can while you can do all this stuff. And then you've got plenty of time to go play some pro basketball. And then that career will be waiting for you after the fact.
Yes, sir.
So what was just last year like for you guys? I mean, we talked a little bit about it, but just obviously we talked about, hey, not getting quite as far as we would have wanted, but just kind of walk us through like the overall experience.
From a basketball standpoint, completely different offensive style. We're getting up in transition a lot, shooting a lot of threes, pushing in for 7 seconds as he preaches, as you'll hear him say about our offense. We're trying to get a bucket in that first 7 seconds. If you have a good shot, take it. And you can see by our three totals that they went up a lot. We set a school record for, I think, makes this year. Mm-hmm. So that was super fun. I just loved being in that type of style. It's not super predictable like the Princeton was. You can't, stop it in certain spots. Like you never know what we're going to do on offense, in my opinion. And then on defense, we brought a different energy with Coach Manuel, Jackie Manuel. He preached defense in a different way that we've never seen before. And it just brought a different energy and aggression out for us on the defensive side. And we I don't think of the word. We prided ourselves on getting 3 stops in a row, which we call a lock. A lock is what we prided ourselves on. If we got 7 or 8 a game, we had a really good chance of winning the game. It's like in the 90s or something like that. A 90% chance the math is. So like we prided ourselves on the defensive side and the offensive side. And from a basketball perspective, it was just completely different, and we all enjoyed it. And then off the court stuff, of course, we had the Italy trip, which was great for us. And then once we got back to campus, just hanging out with guys, having team dinners, once a week here and there, stuff like that you don't even think of. And that's what really brought us together. And it was just more of a family atmosphere. Like everybody knew each other. Like we all know the coaches' families. They all know all our families and stuff. So it's like a big family all together at AU. Everybody comes to the games. Everybody sees each other, twice a week sometimes. So it's just like it was a different light around AU basketball this year, I was excited to see and I'm excited to come back for.
I think when you go to American games, you notice that there are a lot of the families in the crowd too. And I think that's pretty cool to see, but it helps that a lot of you guys are local too. And there's sort of there's a DMV component to this actual team, which is keeping local guys local. I think is probably a thing Coach Simpkins will want to do moving forward. So that's been awesome.
With Coach Simpkins being from the DMV, it helps out a lot more. We didn't used to have a lot of DMV guys before me, Colin, and Link. I think it was just us 3, so we've added like 3 or 4 more from last year, and then I think we have 1 more maybe coming too. So it's just DMV basketball is a great place to live. I feel like it's the best basketball in the country for high school hoops. I might be a little bit biased, but I think being around the area it's just awesome to have.
You mentioned just kind of getting ready for next season here. So what is an off season like for a Division I college basketball player? How much time is in the gym? How much time can you guys work out together? Like talk us through that a little bit.
Well, after the season, we got 2 to 3 weeks off, because that's the recovery time. I think the NCAA mandates, at least 2 weeks off or something like that. So you have that. And then some coaches come back a little bit earlier. Luckily, Coach Simp and our staff gave us like another week off. So that was awesome. And then we get right into spring workouts, which is from I want to say, I don't know the exact month, but it ends like midway through May or right before graduations. So we're working out for a good month and a half after the season together, just going over just some simple offensive schemes and stuff like that. Nothing crazy hard, getting a lot of shots up, a lot of skill work in, ball handling, all that type of stuff. And then the hits after graduation, every school year is over. A lot of people go home for most of May and then all of June usually, because ever since I've been in college, I've only done the second summer session, so which starts from like late June to early August, like first or second week we end in August. Before school starts, we get like 2 weeks before school starts off, and then so basically during that time we're doing team workouts, groups usually lift. Some guys will lift at one time, some guys will be on the court some other times, and then we'll have conditioning either early in the morning or like late at night. We won't do it all at one time. You don't want to kill yourself like 4-hour workouts in a row.
Oh, yeah.
But and then we just having meals all the time. So it's like we have campus dining on this year. We have like 3 swipes, so we get breakfast, lunch together as a team before workouts.
Nice.
And then dinner is on your own, kind of. But usually, guys are getting. There's nobody else on campus right now, so it's just us. So we just go all together as a team usually as well. So just like, and then when you're at home, you're just, you're relaxing, hanging out with guys still. So there's nobody, it's just we're always around each other. It's a fun experience. It's nothing that I don't think anybody could experience unless you're actually in it. People would probably think we're the laziest people on earth when we're not on the court because there's really not that much to do unless you're hooping. So.
Sure.
But it's a fun experience to go through, and I enjoy every second of it.
I know Link's a big reader. Anything you're doing to fill some time when not on the court here? What's the kind of go-to hobby other than going to some O's games?
Yeah, going to O's games is on the top of my list. But luckily, this year I was able to get an internship, so I'm actually interning with the Washington Mystics. A great time to be in the WNBA for sure.
Yeah.
I was actually at the last 2 games at Capital One. Great experience. Oh my gosh. Sold out crowd on Friday. It was a once in a lifetime experience for sure to see something like that. But yeah, I was lucky to get this internship. I started late May, go all the way to September. Got a fan. It's called I'm in the fan experience manager, so I help with all the giveaways and stuff like that. Super cool stuff, marketing, which I'm really into. I'm getting my master's in, of course. So good thing to get on the resume when I have a couple years off with hopefully a couple more than a couple years.
A long pro career, exactly.
Yeah. So, but other than that, hobbies, I just play a lot of video games. I'm not really a reader. I'm trying to get into it, but
you got to do that for school all the time. You get a pass while you're in college.
And then chilling at home with my girlfriend. I got a girlfriend. We've been dating for 3 years, so. Sitting at home with her. We go on walks every night. After I try to cook at home a lot. I'm cooking at home and out a lot during the summer. Not trying to eat out, trying to get my diet right. So that's a fun experience. But other than that, no hobbies.
I got you, man. That's plenty. You're keeping yourself plenty busy there. So any on-court work going on right now? Like so if you're doing some skill development kind of stuff here in the off season to work on things for next year, like what's the focus? I know last year we talked a good amount about shooting and things like that, but anything, a wrinkle you're trying to add this year?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm really trying to expand on my ball handling. That was the biggest thing going into this offseason. And then also on if I'm thinking about the defensive side, is just staying in the stance, being in better conditioning, and just being a more vocal leader on the defensive side and offensive side, of course, but more primarily on the defensive side because I'm on the back line. I can see everything, so I need to be the one talking the most. And I also just want to be a better leader overall. That's something I want to take pride in this year, not getting down on myself and then taking myself out of that role as much. I've learned that I needed to work on that from a lot of people, so I'm going to definitely focus on that this offseason and just becoming a better leader overall. But from a basketball standpoint, it's ball handling, of course, more shooting. I want to get more comfortable in the post, being able to create different ways of shots, not just my hook or my post fade. Just trying to get a little bit more action down there, and then just being more comfortable on the wing, dribbling, and getting to create my own shot. Maybe that's a mid-range pull-up, getting to the rim all the way, or turning it into a post move and then scoring from there. And then I want to, of course, for my shooting numbers, I was at like 36 this year, right? I got right below 37, which I was mad about. I'm trying to be in like that 40 range, though. I feel like that takes me to a different level in the shooting category, which I really want to work on.
I will not be surprised if you get there because it looks good to me every time it's going up. So I think some of that's, you get stuck with some tough shots sometimes, and that's factors in the percentage here a little bit too. So you mentioned kind of not getting down on yourself sometimes in games. I think that's got to be like a really tough balance because you want to be passionate, you want to be, in the game and in the moment, but how do you kind of keep yourself from not letting that, those kind of frustrations bubble over sometimes?
It's just like calming myself down in the moment, not getting frustrated over one little miss in a 40-minute game. It's just like taking a deep breath right after that miss or mess up on defense, and just letting it out your head because you have another chance on the other side, whether that be on offense or defense, to make it right back up. So it's just having that mindset every single play. I think I got better at it this season, especially with Coach Simps and the staff like continuously keeping on me about that. So I feel like I got better, but not good enough. So I'm just like, it's just like keeping that mindset of where you're like, I have another chance to go get that play back or, make up for that play on the other end, whether it be mistake on offense or defense.
You want to strive to be as close to perfect as you can, but it's tough to get there. But you also want to hold yourself to a high standard too. So it's
yeah, I would say I'm a little bit of a perfectionist on my lifestyle, so it's hard to get over that type of stuff. But I'm willing to face that now and grow out of that.
Hey, that's a mature way to look at it too. Like there's always room to grow on that kind of stuff. So it's cool to hear and see, and that feedback is something that these guys feel comfortable that they can communicate to you and know that you'll take it the right way and from a place of trying to help you be the best you. So that shows a lot about that relationship and that team and family dynamic you talked about.
Appreciate it.
So a little bit here, just kind of back to the team in general. Have you seen much of the new guys here yet? The guys coming in for next year, or any sense for kind of what might different flavor they might kind of add to next year's team?
I haven't been able to because they're not on campus yet since we don't get back to June 28th. I think everybody has to be back on campus, so I haven't been able to see them play in person. But watching the short clips or little videos that the coaches will show me or I've seen on their their social media, I'm excited for them for sure. We have four good freshmen, one walk-on, 3 scholarship players, a one guard, one like power forward kind of center, and then a shot blocker coming in, and then we have another guard coming in as well. So I'm excited for all of them. They're going to bring a the first wave of new recruits for Simp. So we got to make them, teach this lifestyle that we do here at AU, the new culture, preaching that down to them. I'm excited to get in that process. It's like my favorite time of the year. It's like after I wasn't a freshman anymore, it's just like helping new freshmen get adapted to this lifestyle and how you got to, take care of yourself, not just on the court, but off the court. And it's a huge transition from high school. So I'm excited for that process.
Coach Simpkins talked about trying to get a little more athletic and just having, some rangier athletes and things like that to complement, the whole rest of the team. And I would imagine that some of these guys check that box a little bit too.
Yeah. Our center, the center that we just committed like earlier this year, he's like a 6'10" athletic shot blocker. We got some real athletic dudes coming in. We got a good lefty coming in. Almost like Lorenzo type of game, but a little bit more athletic. Not to knock on Lorenzo there, but
Sure.
Just a little bit more athletic. And then we got a kid named Julian coming in as a bigger power forward, really skillful though, can dribble the rock really well and shoot the ball. And then our walk-on's a good guard as well. So I'm excited for all of them.
I think the nice thing about your game and the way you play too, and why I made sure to say forward on the way in here too, is like a lot of times you do man the 5 essentially for American, but it doesn't mean you have to. You could play next to a bigger guy or a smaller guy, and that gives the team a lot of lineup versatility or positional versatility. And I think that's also really important in college basketball when your best guys that are playing the most minutes can play with, several other guys on the roster. So I think that'll be cool to see too. All right. So what else we got here? A couple other things just as we wrap this one up a little bit. Arlup3 asked, which Patriot League team would you consider AU's biggest rival?
Biggest rival. The chirpiest are definitely the Loyola Maryland games.
Sure.
Those are my favorite
local flavor.
Those are my favorite to play in. Especially coming through high school, the BCL tournament was at Loyola, so I just had a lot of memories in that gym already. Yeah. For me, it's I feel like that's my personal favorite place to like play in and like get super fired up in. And I was like, I don't want to lose to this team, like ever, And we've always had heated battles. Like I'm not undefeated or anything against them, but it's always brings a different fire to me. But then I think the one overall would be Navy. Honestly, we've played against them. They're also local, but they get super physical. How Navy is. Navy gets super physical. It can get a little bit chirpy with those guys too, and we've always had good battles against them. It's always been close games. No one usually ever blows anybody out. What to expect with them, of course. And then we played them in the playoffs, I think the last 2 years. So it's just been we also have that postseason situations that we've just always dueled it out in. So I think it would be Navy and Loyola for me.
I like that. I think that's also cool from a local rivalry perspective too, to have kind of those ties and the close fan bases to come out. And that one particular Loyola game you guys had last year was a rock fight. I think it's probably the best way to describe it. It was a little bit of a low score. So looking forward to the rematch this year.
That was one of the first games where we had no guys, and it was just I would say in my career, that was probably the worst game I've ever played in. Just from a whole overall, the aura of the game, the score of the game, the defense in the game was it wasn't great, but it looked great because nobody was scoring. It was just sloppy game overall. It it was bad. But that happens sometimes. You can't always be perfect, of course. But like those games are super rare in college basketball. But we were unfortunately in one of the worst games I think anybody's ever watched. If you've ever watched that game.
I watched a lot of your games last year, and that definitely was one where I was like, okay, I don't know that I need to rewatch the tape here. Does Coach throw tape of that game out after? Is there even anything you can learn from rewatching it?
Yeah, I can't think if we watched that much, but I know it wasn't a lot. There definitely wasn't. There's probably a little bit more than you think because of guys. That was the guys' first time playing in a college game. Some of them, so they needed to see the tape. But like for me personally, like I was like after they showed me the clips that I needed to work on, I was like, I don't think I'm going to watch it. Yeah, that was just a little unbearable for me.
It happens. You guys played a lot of fun, really up-tempo games to watch too, so it balances out over the course of the year. But
right,
all good. Talked a little bit about the new recruits already. So RLIP 3 question here again. What are your plans after AU? We talked about the marketing degree here, but anything in particular? Would you like to stay in basketball if you can, or what?
When I think about like that future career, I think about sports marketing for sure. It doesn't have to be in basketball. I'm luckily in basketball this summer. I wanted to actually be in a team that was in season. So the Mystics were in season, and I'm excited to be that for that. But like, I love baseball. I love football. I love other sports, and I would be excited to help any social media team. I like the digital side of marketing, so like social media team, anything like that, I can help with. That's what I really want to go into. But if it comes to like just marketing for a company, I'm interested in that as well. I'm not going to turn that down, But sports is what I really want to focus on because it's what makes me happy. As a person, I've always been around them, no matter what sport it is. So that's what I see myself doing, and yeah, hopefully a long time.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, for anybody, if you need some swag after one of these Mystics games, hit Matt up here. He'll be the tallest person in the room.
Tallest person giving away little mini gift bags and stuff like that you'll ever see. That's for sure.
Anybody from last year's team that's coming back that you're expecting like a big jump from? Anybody that you think's primed for a breakout from the returners?
Oh, I could say a lot of guys, but the guy that I'm most excited for is Greg and Matt Mayock for sure. The two freshmen that played a lot, went through a lot as freshmen. And then Jeff he's definitely going to have an increased role this year, which I'm excited for. Hopefully he can stay a little bit healthy. He had an unfortunate concussion against Lafayette the one game, which was a rough game for us as well. That's when we had 3 injuries in one game. That was one of the worst games I probably played in too. But yeah, I'm excited for the growth of Greg as an offensive player. He showed the defensive side. He has a high motor, super high motor as a player. I'm excited to see him grow on the offensive side, getting more confident this year shooting the ball because he shot well when he was shooting consistently, which coach was preaching for him to do over and over and over again. And finally he started to do it because guys were sitting in the paint almost disrespecting him. And we were like, if you don't do it, it's hurting us more than you not doing it. So
yeah, we'd rather shoot and miss, right?
Yeah, eventually he started, started shooting more and more, and he was making and making. He was shooting close to 40% in conference play, which was insane, and we needed that. So I'm excited for him on the offensive side. And on Matt Mayock's end, he's just a 6'7", lengthy wing that can shoot the crap out of the ball. He's shooting over 40%. I'm really excited to see him on the defensive side, though. More communication. He's a little bit of a quieter guy off the court and stuff. So just getting him to break out of that shell, being more aggressive on defense. And then being a little bit more of a leader, knowing that he's, a really good player and that we rely on him a lot because shooters are very valuable in the Patriot League. Everybody has shooters. So if you have a guy that's shooting over 40% consistently, he's very valuable to us. So I'm excited for that. And then Jeff, just getting more opportunities, handling the ball a little bit more. He's going to be in the backcourt a lot more, not just running the wings anymore because he might have to dribble the ball with losing Lorenzo and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm excited to see him grow overall as a player and just be more of a leader now that he's a junior. We lost Jermaine this year, so I think we only have 1 or 2 juniors this year. So it's like we're a little bit older. We're still a little bit old, but we're seasoned, I would say, because our sophomores are seasoned. They played a lot as freshmen, so we still have a lot of experience overall as a team.
I'm obviously partial to Matt's game. Mats have to stick together, but I think that's a dude that if he had a long pro career after this, it wouldn't surprise me. He's got that kind of potential, I think.
Yeah, I think so as well. Just being able to shoot the way he does, and he's always in the right spots on offense. It's just crazy. I love playing with him. As a big, I love being able to just kick it out and kick out to the wing that can just shoot it. He has a quick release. It's beautiful, like a great release. So it's awesome to watch and be a part of.
Very cool. Jagstremski asked, who were your top individual matchups in the Patriot League in your career? Maybe just one. Is there one guy that you kind of either have great battles with or you look forward to going against, or even just a particular team maybe of like, hey, they guard me tough or I like going against them?
Yeah, I love going against Holy Cross. They had this guy named Gates, Jarrell Gates, for 3 years. I thought he was the oldest dude. He was in the league before me, and he was still in the league for like most of my career. Like the last 3 years, he was in the league. But he was just a tougher on me on the defensive side. Like I would have to guard him because I know he can. Like he was their main person. I had to guard him every possession. He can score from not all 3 levels. He wasn't shooting the 3 as well, but his mid range was good. His back down was good. So like that, and then also the guy from Navy, Daniel Deaver, that just graduated before last year. Also a tough matchup. Just going against Navy bigs was not fun for me. And he wasn't just like a big dude, like he was skilled as well. So a little bit undersized but skilled, and he would give me a 20 ball here and there. I'll admit that, but it was and they were cool guys off the court. Like they would talk to you. It wasn't any love or any hate. It was all love. But we're in between those lines where we're dueling it out and we're trying to mess each other up. So, but those two would be my most like memorable or like the ones I would always look forward to.
That's cool. That's a great answer. What's the next American University basketball player we should talk to on the podcast here? Anyone else you think would be a particularly good convo with?
I think you should talk to Greg Jones. Okay. Greg is a great personality. Would love to talk. I know he would have a lot of good things to say about everybody else. Local DMV legend, I would say. He was a 2-time back-to-back champion in Virginia public school, so he's well known. It was a great pickup for us last year. I'm excited for him to grow this year for sure, but I think he would be a good call.
That's a great answer too, and like you mentioned, I think he's a guy on the way up this year too. So we'll get him a little pub here before he gets going. Don't
be surprised if he's on that the defensive team this next year.
I would not. Yeah,
him and Eli. I need Eli on it again as well. But I haven't said anything about Eli. I'm excited for Eli as well. I don't want to leave out Eli. Eli's a huge part of this team. It hurt last year, not having him for a couple games with the ankle injury, which really sucked, and he re-injured unfortunately in one of the games, the Bucknell game, I think it was the second time before the playoffs. But he's a huge part of this team. Very quiet guy. We're trying to break out of that shell as well. As a leader, but everybody knows how important he is, how well he can create shots for people, not just for himself. If you ever watched one of our games, you'll notice Eli right away. Little burst of energy, I would say for sure.
He'll be the blur streaking down the court ahead of everybody else.
Playing almost 40 minutes every game, high 30s for sure.
He's a super fun watch, and for a team that wants to play fast, you need a guy like him. He's the engine that makes the car go. So that's cool.
Yes.
All right, last one, probably the most important thing we can talk about here on the pod. Who are our Wizards taking with the number 2 pick? Where would you go if you were them?
I'm hoping that guy from France falls to us. I wouldn't be mad, but I'm hoping it's him. I like the potential. I just don't like this draft class. So I haven't even really looked into it that much because I've just been on Twitter scrolling. I'm like, the draft class is not as impressive as like a Wemby would have been last year. If we would have got Wemby, I wouldn't have cared in the world who we got this year. I wouldn't have cared at all. But this year I hope it's the guy from France. I really like the potential, the length, the shot block ability, but I don't know if you can take that at a super high pick with not so much great offensive skill yet. He's super young, but if it was anybody, I'd probably take him, honestly.
I like it. Alex Sarr from France for anybody there, 6'11" center, and then there's another French wing and Zach Rusachet, and another French wing, and
that's good basketball over there. France has really good basketball. I would not be mad if I had to play over there for a long time. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun, high level basketball to play.
Yeah, it is.
All right, Matt. Anything else you want to shout out or plug or anything here before we call it a day?
I'm good. I'm just excited for the season. I hope everybody can catch a game. I hope I can get on the podcast, like we do every year before the season starts. I hope to get back to give you all a little bit more preview with and how I feel about the guys and how we're feeling as a team. But I'll be back for sure, and I'm excited.
Love it. All right, we will definitely make that happen. Maybe we'll grab a link for one of these two and get you guys both on here. And
let's do it. Let's do it.
Awesome. All right, everybody. You know the drill. Rate, review, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, click that little like button for us. Just believe in DMV hoops. Reviews are always helpful. We're presented by betonline.ag. And make sure to go see an American game this year in person. You will not regret it. These guys are fun, and we like supporting them on the show. So check them out.
Appreciate y'all.